What's up guys, it's Brighton. Like and subscribe. You read the caption, blah, 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 blah. Let's get into the video. So the first odd sport we're gonna be looking at is bull riding. This is a sport where the competitors will ride a bull for as long as possible. I just stumbled upon this at night when I was scrolling through YouTube bored as hell and I wanted something to fall asleep to. But little did I know that this was going to be impossible to fall asleep to because it was just so interesting. So the objective of the sport is to ride a bull for as long as possible, I guess just without dying. Now, I don't know if you guys have ever been on a mechanical bull, but those things are hard as hell to ride. I once got on one. I was so confident going into it. I was like,
fuck yeah, this is gonna be so easy. You just sit there and hold on.
And 2 seconds in, I was flown off that thing and sent into like another universe. That shit is hard as hell. So riding a real bull has gotta be deadly. Now, keep in mind, I call this a weird sport, but I understand that this takes a lot of strength and skill, so I am in no way knocking it. If you play this sport, then all respect to you. I could not do what you do. Another thing I don't understand is why is the bull doing that? As soon as they let him out of the cage, he's just like shaking his ass. He goes fucking crazy. I don't know if they're trained to do that. I know that's something I could look up easily because that's like if I went to prison and they let me out of prison and the first thing I did was like, hey, thanks for letting me out of prison. I'm a twerk now. It doesn't make any sense to me. But regardless, these guys just ride atop that thing. And not to mention, the bull riders aren't the only ones being scored. The bulls are also being scored for how hard they can shake this human being off of their body. So the more bloodlust that these animals have, the better the score that the bull rider gets. Which for all intents and purposes makes sense, but it is so dangerous. There are so many scenarios where the bull almost steps on the guy's fucking face and he almost dies, but he gets out of it somehow. And that's where the skill comes in because I don't know how they get out of these insane situations. Like they're about to die. A bull is about to stomp on their body and they just slip away and let these other guys handle it. And oh yeah, who are these other guys that are wrestling the bull after the bull rider is done? This is my favorite part of the sport because once the bull rider is flung off of the bull, these 4 or 5 guys just surround the bull and start taunting it. Like you can see them like throwing punches at the bull and shit. These are the coolest guys I have ever seen. Like look at them. They got balls of steel. They're there just to fight the bull. That's their whole job. Honestly, I respect the bull riders, but I respect these guys even more. Hats off to them. The next weird sport we're going to get into is cheese rolling. And you guessed it, this is about rolling cheese. But not just rolling cheese, it's about rolling yourself. This is a sport that takes place on Cooper's Hill in Gloucestershire, England. It's a very steep hill. And the way that the sport works is that a 9-pound wheel of Gloucester cheese is rolled down the hill. You would think the goal is to catch the cheese. The goal isn't to catch the cheese. Think of the cheese wheel as just the first person to race down the hill. The goal is to just cross the finish line. So the first person to cross the finish line at the bottom of the hill wins the game. And you may be thinking, what's the prize of winning the game? It's the cheese. You get nothing else. You just get cheese. Cheese, 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 cheese. And I'm a big cheese guy, but if you're gonna ask me to roll down a hill for like, I don't know, a few minutes and possibly get crazy injuries just for cheese, all right, maybe I'd do it. And people have gotten like insane injuries from this competition. Like, look at these people rolling down the hill. There's no way that they're not getting injured. And people of all ages can compete in this. There are elderly people rolling down a hill for cheese. It's like this competition was made for mice or something. I don't know who came up with this idea, but I mean, I kind of like it. One thing I love about all these sports is that it's very easy to understand what the sport is based solely off of the name. Because the next sport we're going to be talking about is called ear pulling. And you might have guessed it, this is baseball. No, it's actually, it is ear pulling. So 2 people will sit across from each other and wrap like a rubber band around their ears and stare at each other deep in the eyes and pull. Like pull their face back. That's what the sport is. And the first person to give up, or I guess have the rubber band pulled off of their ear, loses and the other guy wins. I'm just confused on how this sport was invented in the first place. There was some guy sitting in his basement who went, I can't really play baseball, football, soccer, or anything, but I got strong ass ears. What can I do with my big, ugly, muscular ears? And so he invented this sport, and I'm sure he's the GOAT. Actually, I want to know who the GOAT of ear pulling is. It's got to be something crazy. He's got to have like humongous ears. It looks so painful when they're doing it too. Their ears get all deformed and everything. There's literally like blood coming out of the back of their head. I couldn't imagine playing this sport and liking it. Like, even if you win, I wouldn't feel very good after I won. They're staring at each other deep in the eyes while they're doing this. And I guess like, what other way are you going to play this sport? But it gets so emotional. Like, they're looking at each other deep in the eyes and thinking, ooh, I'm going to pull your ear. No, I'm going to pull your ear. You first. No, you. Damn, they look so stressed. This doesn't look fun at all. Whoa. I don't know, but let's get on to the next weird sport. This next one is actually pretty heartwarming, I guess. It's called wife carrying. Again, with these names, it's very obvious what this sport is all about. It's carrying your wife. So the competitors will have their wife like strapped onto them like a backpack and run through obstacle courses. What I'm thinking is, how do you convince your wife to take part in this competition? Hey babe, I've got a plan for us tonight. Wink, wink. And she's like,
ooh, that sounds sexy. What is it?
And he's like, I'm gonna carry you in an obstacle course against other people carrying their wives in an obstacle course. But damn, these guys are actually like strong as hell. They're carrying full-grown humans on their back and they're fucking running. They're trucking it. So again, like, I call this a weird sport, but they're strong as hell. So I was wondering why all the husbands were carrying their wives the same. And it's actually a technique in the sport called the Estonian carry, where the wife hangs upside down on the husband's back, legs around his neck, and head near his butt. It's efficient, but also looks like an extreme piggyback gone wrong. And it's just funny how much effort they put into winning this competition, that they take on these different techniques of how to carry their wife. It's just funny because a lot of the competition is also running through like water and muddy pits. So using this type of carry, your wife's head is just like face down in the water, going in and out over and over again. This seems like a little bit harder for the wife than it is for the husband, honestly, because she's going through hell down there. So the history of this sport is that it started in Finland, inspired by legendary thieves who carried women away as part of their courtship rituals. I don't know exactly what that means. And guess what the grand prize is? It is your wife's weight in beer. So this has got to be the best prize yet in all the sports we've talked about. Because imagine that your wife is like, I don't know, 130 pounds. You get 130 pounds of beer. I mean, that's going to take a while for me to drink, like 20 minutes at least. Imagine like losing this competition and dropping your wife in the pit of mud. She getting a divorce, bro. I'm sorry. So I saved the best for last because this one is quite possibly the hardest one to compete in. This one is called ferret legging. And the name doesn't really do the sport justice. Let's get into it. So the sport is, you have to be wearing baggy trousers and you have to put a ferret down your pants, and that's it. The person who can hold the ferret in their pants the longest wins. Simple as that. But there are some rules to this sport. The ferret cannot be drunk, because you can get ferrets drunk, and the ferrets have to have full claws and full teeth. So they can have at it at your legs or your other parts. And apparently this became popularized by coal miners. I don't know how bored you can get down there as a coal miner, but I think this just proves that if you are bored, you are gonna go to extraordinary lengths to fix that boredom. Imagine like working your job like as a server, you get bored, there are no tables, and you're like, fuck it, dude. I'm gonna put a ferret down my pants. So there is apparently a goat of ferret legging, and his name is Reg Meller. And he set the record of having a live ferret in your pants, and it was 5 hours and 26 minutes.
What is going on inside your trousers?
They're nosing round.
Do they ever bite?
Yeah.
Huh. Well, it may be a silly question, but if they bite so hard and hurt you, why do you do it?
Well, that's it. It's a challenge.
I mean, have people been doing this for a long time in Barnsley?
I have.
I couldn't imagine 30 seconds of that. And he had a feral ferret in his pants for 5.5 hours. There is no way he's able to have kids anymore. And you may be thinking, oh, but the ferrets can be nice. Like maybe they're not too dangerous. No, bro. There are stories of these competitors having scratches all up and down their legs. So like the whole 5.5 hours, this guy had a ferret clawing at his legs trying to get out. Again, this is another one. I know everything is subjective, but how can you enjoy this sport? I don't understand it for a second. But also, like, I feel bad for the ferret. Like, this has got to be an animal rights issue. You're sticking a live animal down your pants, and the longer it stays trapped trying to get out of sweaty ballsack, the more points you get. If reincarnation is real, ferret is my last choice. Anyways, guys, those are some of the weirdest sports I can find right now. I'm gonna do more videos about this because it's just so interesting seeing all the things people will do to cure their boredom. Like, subscribe, and comment if you want to. I'm gonna go back to playing my favorite very normal sport of put my finger in a blender. Peace.